Imagine a warrior so controlled that nothing could pull him off balance. Not anger, not fear, not pressure, not even the threat of death. This wasn't a myth. It was Miyamoto Musashi, a man who fought over 60 duels without losing once. A man who walked alone, trained alone, and thought differently from every other samurai. A man who believed that mastering the enemy meant nothing if you hadn't mastered yourself first. Most people think Musashi's strength came from talent, or skill, or pure aggression, but they're wrong. What made him unstoppable was a hidden system he used to control his emotions, direct his focus, and detach from everything that weakens the mind. A system he never taught openly. A system buried inside his writings, metaphors, and routines. Today, you're about to learn the lost strategy Musashi used to build unshakable self-control. A strategy that can help you stay calm under pressure, stop reacting emotionally, and move through life with a focus so sharp it feels unreal. This is the discipline Musashi used to conquer himself, so he could conquer everything else. And now, you're going to learn how to use it too. Chapter 1. The Enemy That Lives Inside You. Most people picture Miyamoto Musashi as a warrior standing in a field, sword in hand, ready to cut down any opponent who dared to challenge him. But Musashi's greatest battles didn't happen in open spaces. They didn't happen in duels or on dusty roads or against skilled swordsmen. His greatest battles happened inside himself. Long before Musashi became a legend, he was a young, impulsive fighter, quick to anger, quick to react, and quick to let emotion drag him into fights he didn't need to fight. He won many of them, yes, but his victories were sloppy, brutal, driven by pride instead of discipline. He didn't understand it back then, but he was fighting the wrong enemy. His true opponent wasn't the man in front of him. It was the chaos inside his own mind. The first lesson: you are not in control. Musashi wrote that the ordinary man is pushed by the wind. A small insult blows him off balance. A small doubt slows him down. A small fear locks him in place. He reacts without thinking. He speaks before he understands. He moves before he sees clearly. Musashi recognized this weakness in himself. He saw how emotion made his sword heavy, how pride made his vision narrow, how fear made his body tense. And he realized something uncomfortable. He was not in control of himself. Most people today face the same problem. You get angry too quickly. You get distracted too easily. You fall into anxiety without noticing the moment it begins. You react automatically, like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. Musashi believed this was the greatest defeat a human can experience: to be owned by your emotions instead of owning them. So he made a decision that would shape the rest of his life. He decided to hunt the enemy inside him. The discipline of self-observation. The first step in Musashi's system is simple but difficult. You must observe yourself like a stranger. He wrote, "Know the smallest things and the biggest things, the shallowest things and the deepest things." This wasn't poetic language. It was tactical. Musashi would train with a sword in hand, but his real focus was on the mind behind the sword. He watched every tiny emotional shift as if it belonged to someone else. A flicker of irritation, a moment of hesitation, a flash of fear, a rise of pride, a sudden tightening of his jaw. Whenever he noticed one, he didn't judge it. He simply observed it. He treated emotion like a cloud passing in front of the sun, not an identity, not a command, not something to obey. This is where self-control begins. Not by forcing discipline, but by watching what controls you. Most people never do this. They move through life pulled along by unseen forces. They never stop long enough to ask, why did that comment make me angry? Why did that task make me anxious? Why did I react without thinking? Musashi realized that the moment you begin to see your inner reactions, you weaken their power over you. You stop being a victim of your own mind. The warrior's mirror. Musashi used a simple mental practice, one anyone can use today. He imagined his mind as a lake. When the water was calm, he could see clearly. When the water was disturbed, even a little, everything became distorted. Anger was a stone thrown into the lake. Fear was a gust of wind. Pride was debris floating on the surface. Distraction was ripples from every direction at once. The ordinary man jumps into the water, splashing, thrashing, making the lake even worse. Musashi did the opposite. He stepped back. He watched the disturbance. He waited for the lake to calm itself. This wasn't passiveness. This was control. He knew that clarity always returns when you stop feeding the storm. Most of us today never let the lake settle. A message comes in and you react instantly. A stress hits and you panic immediately. Someone irritates you and your thoughts scatter for hours. Musashi's discovery was simple. You lose more battles from inner disturbance than from outer obstacles. So he trained himself to stay still in the middle of mental storms. The moment before action. There is a key idea in Musashi's writings that often gets overlooked. The moment before you act determines everything that follows. When Musashi walked into a duel, he wasn't focused on the opponent's weapon. He wasn't focused on the distance or the stance. He wasn't even focused on winning. His attention was on a silent moment inside his mind, the moment before commitment. Because that's where emotions try to hijack you. That's where fear tightens your chest. That's where doubt slips into your thoughts. That's where anger tries to push you forward. If you can master that 1 second, you control the entire fight. If you cannot, you lose before the swords even move. This principle applies to everything. Before you speak, before you react, before you decide, before you take on a challenge. If you don't control the moment before action, you are not in control at all. Musashi learned to pause, not a long pause, not hesitation, but a breath-wide moment of awareness. A moment to detach. A moment to observe. A moment to choose. And that is the foundation of self-control. Facing the enemy. By the time Musashi reached adulthood, he had already defeated dozens of opponents. But the victory that changed his life came in silence. It wasn't a duel. It wasn't a physical battle. It was a moment when he realized the enemy he had been fighting all along was himself. His impatience, his ego, his reactions, his impulses, his emotional storms. Only once he saw this clearly did he begin the path that made him unstoppable. This is where your journey starts too. The first step toward absolute self-control isn't discipline or motivation or toughness. It's the courage to admit that most of your struggles come from within you. Musashi understood this. Now you do too. And once you see the enemy inside you, you can finally learn how to defeat it. Chapter 2. The discipline of watching yourself. He always thought discipline started with strength. But Musashi taught the opposite. Discipline begins with seeing, not the world, not the battlefield, yourself. Most people live their entire lives carried by impulses they don't recognize. They feel irritated and snap without thinking. They feel threatened and shut down before understanding why. They feel fear and step back, even when stepping forward is the only thing that could change their life. Musashi saw this pattern everywhere. In the dojo, in rival warriors, in himself. He realized that before a blade ever cuts the skin, there is another cut, one that happens inside the mind. A moment when emotion takes over and blinds a person. This internal collapse is what truly defeats them. Long before any physical battle, there is a private battle between awareness and reaction. Most people lose that battle because they don't see it happening. Musashi's solution was radical. Become a watcher of your own mind. Not once a week. Not only when you meditate, but in every breath, every action, every rise of emotion. He believed you must look at yourself the way a warrior watches an enemy's sword. Always studying, always alert, always ready. It begins subtly. A flicker of irritation when someone disagrees with you. A tightening in the chest when you're asked to do something difficult. A small voice whispering you're not capable. These moments feel small, but they are the true battleground. Musashi said the real conflict is not between you and life, but between you and the impulses inside you that try to control your actions. He studied his reactions the way a strategist studies terrain. He paid attention to the sensations that came before anger. He noticed the physical signs of fear, the shallow breath, the warm skin, the urge to retreat. He watched doubt rise like a cloud before a storm. And instead of reacting, he paused, just long enough to see the truth. The emotion wasn't him. It was something happening to him. That small space between emotion and action became his greatest weapon. Musashi didn't try to crush emotions. He didn't try to force himself to be calm. He didn't pretend he wasn't afraid. He simply observed. He believed that if you can watch a feeling without feeding it, the feeling loses authority. It becomes a passing visitor instead of a master. It becomes something you can respond to or ignore. Imagine a samurai walking onto a battlefield. His opponent screams to intimidate him. Dust swirls. The crowd breathes heavily. The tension is thick enough to cut. A normal fighter reacts, body tight, heart racing, mind scattered. Musashi didn't. He let the noise wash over him. He let the intimidation pass through him. He watched fear rise, then fall, like a wave hitting a stone. This is the discipline of watching yourself. Not control through force, but control through awareness. And this is where most people today fail. They try to overpower their emotions. They try to stay motivated. They try to force themselves. But Musashi would say they are stepping onto a battlefield blindfolded. He believed that you can't control anything you cannot first observe. Awareness must come before discipline. And without awareness, every form of discipline is temporary. He would watch himself during training. When anger made him strike too hard, he noticed. When pride made him underestimate an opponent, he noticed. When frustration made him sloppy, he noticed. He treated every emotion like a signal, not a problem. Each reaction taught him something about himself, something he could refine, sharpen, or discard. The more he watched, the more he learned. The more he learned, the more control he gained. Not control over the world, but control over the one thing he truly owned, his own mind. One of his writings says, "To know the way is to know yourself, and to know yourself is to see without distortion." He believed that the biggest distortion in life is the lie we tell ourselves. I had no choice. I couldn't stop it. It just happened. To Musashi, this is surrender. Every feeling has a beginning. Every impulse announces itself. Every emotional reaction has footsteps before it arrives. If you learn to hear those footsteps, you can meet them at the door and decide whether to let them in. This is the heart of the discipline he practiced. A warrior does not drift unconsciously. A warrior sees himself, fully, honestly, constantly. The modern world pulls you in 100 directions. Notifications, demands, urgency, information overload, endless noise. Most people react to all of it automatically. They're always pulled, never choosing. Always responding, never observing. Musashi would tell them they are living as slaves to their impulses. He would tell them they are controlled by the unseen parts of their own mind, by fear, by exhaustion, by old habits, by unexamined reactions. But once you start watching yourself, something shifts. You begin noticing the moment you're about to procrastinate, the moment you're about to speak from anger, the moment you're about to give in, quit, or avoid. And in that split second, you get a choice. A real choice. One that most people never give themselves. Musashi's method is simple but demanding. Notice your impulses. Name the emotion. Pause long enough to see the truth. Then act, not from reaction, but from intention. This is how he forged his internal strength. This is why he became impossible to shake. He had seen the inner world clearly enough that nothing inside him could ambush him anymore. If you want absolute self-control, this is where it begins. Not with routines, not with schedules, not with willpower, with awareness. Seeing your mind in motion, watching yourself with honesty, recognizing your reactions before they decide your life. This is the discipline of Musashi, and it becomes the foundation for everything else. Chapter 3. training the mind through hardship. Musashi believed every warrior has two lives. The first is the life they are given. The second is the life they create once they understand hardship. Most people fear challenge. They avoid discomfort. They search for the easiest path, the smoothest road, the softest option. And every time they choose comfort, their mind weakens, quietly, slowly, invisibly, until the day they need strength, and it isn't there. Musashi knew this danger well. He grew up in an era where a single hesitation could end a life. A moment of emotional weakness meant defeat. A moment of mental collapse meant death. So he sought out hardship, not because he enjoyed suffering, but because he understood something most people never realize. Hardship is the forge where self-control is created. But the hardship Musashi valued wasn't dramatic. It wasn't the kind of suffering that comes from war, wounds, or violence. It was much quieter, much more subtle, much more personal. It was the hardship of confronting his own mind. He trained alone for years. He walked through mountains with no food but what he could find. He slept on cold ground. He traveled with nothing but a wooden sword and silence. People thought he was trying to prove his toughness. They didn't understand. He was trying to understand his mind. Because when the body becomes tired, the mind reveals itself. When hunger grows, fear speaks louder. When isolation stretches for days, doubt creeps in. When you remove comfort, you begin to see what controls you. Musashi used hardship as a mirror, not to destroy himself, but to discover himself. He believed the average person never meets their true mind. They only meet the mind that has been shaped by convenience and routine. A soft mind, a mind that collapses when faced with difficulty. But hardship removes the illusions. It strips away your excuses. It shows you who you really are beneath your automatic reactions. Musashi sought these moments deliberately. He didn't want an easy path. He wanted to see the truth. When he walked through forests alone, every sound sharpened his awareness. When he trained until sweat covered the dirt beneath him, he saw the part of himself that wanted to quit. When he fasted, he felt the voice of craving. When he meditated for hours, he met the voice of impatience. And every time, he asked the same question: who is speaking? Is it me, or the weakness inside me? It was a question that changed his life. Most people hear internal resistance and assume it is their real voice. They think the urge to quit is themselves. They think the fear is themselves. They think the excuses are themselves. Musashi refused to accept that. He treated weakness as an intruder, a thief, a false voice that tried to pull him away from the path. Hardship made it easier to see this separation. When the body becomes stressed, the weak voice becomes louder, more obvious, more desperate. And that is when Musashi attacked it. Not with a sword, with awareness. He watched his mind under pressure. He studied his emotions when pushed to the edge. He trained not only his muscles, but the part of himself that wanted to escape difficulty. Musashi believed this was the highest form of training, to stay awake inside your suffering, instead of panicking or escaping. When discomfort rises, the common man fights it. He tries to suppress it. He runs from it. He distracts himself from it. Musashi did the opposite. He leaned into it. He believed that if you turn toward the discomfort, you strip away its power. If you look directly at fear before it grows, it retreats. If you face frustration with awareness, it dissolves. If you welcome hardship as teacher, it becomes your ally. This is why he always said, learn to suffer correctly, not recklessly, not pointlessly, correctly. To him, correct suffering means choosing difficulty intentionally, so that the mind strengthens instead of breaking. He didn't injure his body or put himself at risk. He simply lived in a way that kept him awake. A life without excess. A life without softness. A life where the mind was always being challenged, sharpened, tested. When he faced opponents, the same principle applied. Most fighters panicked when the duel began. Their hearts raced. Their thoughts scrambled. Their instincts got messy. Musashi stayed calm because he had met hardship 1,000 times before. He had practiced stillness in pain. He had practiced endurance in hunger. He had practiced clarity in chaos. To him, a duel was not a special moment. It was simply another form of hardship, another mirror, another test of his ability to remain conscious instead of controlled by emotion. He said the goal of training was not to become strong in perfect conditions. Anyone can feel strong when life is easy. A warrior must remain strong when life becomes unbearable. This is why he cultivated a mind that doesn't panic when pushed, a mind that doesn't collapse when uncomfortable, a mind that doesn't break when tested, a mind forged through hardship. And here is the truth that most people don't want to hear. You can't develop discipline in comfort. You can't grow strength without resistance. You can't master yourself without facing yourself in difficult moments. But Musashi didn't want people to seek extreme suffering. He wanted them to use everyday hardship, finishing tasks when tired, waking up early when the bed feels warm, working with full focus even when bored, doing the right thing when fear whispers against it, choosing patience when anger rises, staying calm when life becomes chaotic. These are small battles, but they produce enormous strength. Musashi believed each small discomfort you face intentionally becomes a thread in the rope of your character. The more threads you weave, the stronger that rope becomes. The more hardship you face with awareness, the more your mind transforms. He often trained this way on purpose, slowly, quietly, methodically. He didn't want to defeat others. He wanted to defeat the part of himself that wanted an easier life. Because he knew that if a man can conquer his weakness, no opponent can conquer him. In the end, hardship was Musashi's greatest teacher. Not because it broke him, but because it revealed him. He learned that self-control isn't built by avoiding difficulty. It is built by walking toward it with a calm mind and open eyes. It is built by meeting discomfort and saying, "I will stay. I will watch. I will not run." Through hardship, Musashi discovered the truth of himself. And through that truth, he built unshakable strength. Chapter 4. The Discipline of Unshakable Stillness. The moon drifted across the sky like a slow-moving brushstroke, its pale glow spreading across the silent clearing where Musashi once trained alone. The night felt heavy, almost sacred, as if holding the memory of every warrior who had ever stood here seeking mastery over himself. And in this stillness, a deeper truth about Musashi's philosophy began to surface, one that separated ordinary discipline from absolute self-control. This truth was stillness, not the stillness of doing nothing, but the stillness of a mind that refuses to be shaken, even when the world comes crashing in. Musashi wrote of it, hinted at it, and lived it in every duel. He understood something most people never learn. You cannot master your actions until you master the silence inside yourself. And for him, stillness wasn't passive. It was an active, deliberate weapon. As he once said, the ultimate aim is to control the enemy within. The enemy was not fear, not chaos, not weakness. It was the mind that wavered. Tonight, imagine the clearing where he practiced. The tall grass barely moved. The cicadas fell silent. The world itself seemed to hold its breath. Musashi would stand at the center of the space, with his two swords sheathed at his side. He didn't move. His heartbeat slowed. His breath softened to a quiet rhythm. His awareness expanded until he could sense the slightest change around him. This was not meditation in a peaceful temple. This was stillness forged in the reality of battle. And the question for you is simple. How do you build the kind of stillness that cannot be broken? Musashi revealed 4 layers, each deeper than the last. Layer 1. Stillness of the body. Before mastering anything else, Musashi trained his body to obey without hesitation. He believed that if your body twitches every time you feel stressed, if your hands shake when you're afraid, if your posture collapses when you're overwhelmed, then the mind will follow that weakness. So he practiced the art of physical stillness. He would stand in one position for long periods in extreme heat or cold. He would balance on uneven rocks by the riverbank while the water roared past. He held sword stances until his muscles trembled, then held them even longer. This wasn't about strength. It was about endurance of intention. You must learn to hold yourself steady even when discomfort tries to break your focus. This is why modern people crumble so easily. One distraction and the mind collapses, dragging the body with it. Musashi reversed the process. He made the body a foundation the mind could trust. Layer 2. Stillness of the breath. Once the body stops reacting, the breath becomes your next battlefield. Musashi believed breath was the bridge between the physical and the mental. Control your breath and you control your emotional state. Lose your breath and your emotions seize control of you. So again he trained. He would practice slow, nearly silent breathing while walking, while sitting, while striking, while running, even while imagining combat. If fear made his breath rise, he slowed it. If anger made it sharp, he softened it. If uncertainty made it shallow, he deepened it. He used breath to create an internal rhythm so steady that not even incoming danger could disrupt it. You cannot develop self-control if your emotions command your breath. You must train it until you can slow your heartbeat in stress and sharpen your awareness in panic. When the breath becomes still, the storm begins to fade. Layer 3. Stillness of the mind. This was where Musashi separated himself from other warriors. Many fighters could control their bodies. Some could control their breathing. But very few could silence the mind that screamed inside during pressure or uncertainty. Musashi called this quiet cutting. The ability to clear the mind so fully that every action becomes effortless. How did he create this silence? Through brutal honesty. He confronted his fears, his doubts, his ego, and stripped them layer by layer. He wrote openly about avoiding obsession with perfection, avoiding pride in technique, avoiding emotional attachment to winning or losing. He refused to let thoughts become noise. He refused to let emotions become chains. He refused to let imagination become fear. He used stillness to see reality as it was, not as his fear painted it, not as his ego decorated it, not as his doubt distorted it. This level of stillness lets you make decisions with absolute clarity. It gives you the power to stay calm when life tries to break you. It becomes a silent room inside you where chaos cannot enter. Layer 4. Stillness during motion. This was the highest stage and the one most people misunderstand. Stillness is not only for meditation. It is for movement, for struggle, for conflict, for moments when your world feels like it's collapsing. Musashi trained himself to carry stillness into battle. Not physically, but mentally. Even while moving, he remained centered. Even while striking, he remained calm. Even while risking death, he remained present. No shaking, no hesitation, no spiraling emotion. This is where self-control becomes unshakable. This is where discipline becomes instinct. This is where the mind becomes a blade. And this is where Musashi's philosophy becomes more than technique. It becomes a way of living. Imagine applying this in your own life. A crisis hits. Everyone panics. But you stay steady. An opportunity appears. Everyone rushes. But you stay precise. A conflict erupts. Everyone argues. But you stay composed. You are the calm person in the storm. You become the one others trust. You become the one who cannot be rattled. This is what Musashi meant by the unmoving spirit. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of control, the silent turning point. At the end of his life, Musashi withdrew into a cave. No students, no swords, no battle. He finally understood what stillness prepares you for. Life is not conquered by force. It is conquered by clarity. And clarity only appears when the noise inside you disappears. This chapter is not about sitting quietly. It is about learning to control yourself in a world that constantly tries to control you. Stillness is your advantage. Stillness is your armor. Stillness is the root of absolute self-control. And now, as the night darkens over the clearing, you begin to see why Musashi carried his calmness into every moment of his life. Not because he was born different, but because he trained the silence inside him until it became unbreakable. The mind becomes sharp, the spirit becomes steady, the warrior becomes whole, and the path ahead leads you to the final lesson, the strategy Musashi kept hidden for those prepared to meet themselves fully. Chapter 5. The Final Strategy. The air in the valley was cold enough to sting the lungs. Dawn had not yet broken, but a faint line of silver touched the horizon. This was the hour Musashi preferred most, the moment when darkness loosens its grip, but light has not yet taken command. A moment of transition, a moment when everything stands between what it was and what it will soon become. For Musashi, this moment held his final and most guarded strategy. Not a sword technique, not a mental exercise, not a principle of posture, timing, or intention. It was something deeper, something warriors spend lifetimes avoiding. Because Musashi's final lesson wasn't about control. It was about surrender. Not surrender to an enemy, but surrender to reality. The last strategy he taught was something he called the way of no preference. A state where the warrior lets go of every attachment that disrupts clarity. This was the breakthrough Musashi reached only in the final years of his life, long after his duels had ended, long after victory lost its meaning, long after ambition itself became another form of distraction. He realized that as long as you cling to a specific outcome, your mind is controlled by fear. As long as you cling to perfection, your spirit is chained. As long as you cling to your identity, your actions become limited. So he began to strip away everything that clouded his judgment. This final strategy isn't loud. It isn't glorious. It isn't heroic. It is simple, quiet, almost invisible. But if you master it, you become unbreakable. The first part, letting go of winning. Musashi was undefeated, yet he wrote repeatedly that a warrior obsessed with winning becomes weak. That obsession pulls you out of the present moment. It tightens your chest. It makes you hesitate. It makes you fear loss more than you desire mastery. So he taught, become so focused on the fight itself that the outcome disappears. When you let go of winning, something strange happens. Your movements loosen. Your decisions become faster. Your awareness expands. Your mind calms. Musashi's greatest victories came not from overpowering opponents, but from attacking with no expectation, no need to succeed, no fear of failure, only complete presence. He called this cutting without hesitation. Most people never understand this. They fight their fears, chase results, measure themselves constantly, and collapse under the weight of their own expectations. Musashi stepped beyond that trap. He freed himself from the desire to win, and that freedom made him unstoppable. The second part, letting go of yourself. The second part of the strategy was even harder. Musashi believed the ego was the greatest enemy a warrior faces. Ego demands recognition. Ego demands security. Ego demands a predictable world. But Musashi realized that the mind cannot be free if it is chained to identity. This was why he never stayed in one school, never settled into one style, never declared loyalty to one doctrine. His identity had to remain fluid, so his skill could continue evolving. He taught his students, be like water from the mountain. Shape yourself to what the moment demands. In battle, ego gets you killed. In life, ego blinds you. To release ego is to stop defending an idea of who you think you must be, and instead move with who you actually are in the moment. This is why Musashi could adapt to enemies of any style, any rhythm, any mindset. He wasn't fighting for himself. He was fighting through himself. Once ego dissolves, what remains is pure awareness. And awareness is the foundation of absolute self-control. The third part, moving without preference. This was Musashi's most mystical idea, and the one he struggled to explain even in the Book of Five Rings. He believed that once you let go of outcomes and identity, your actions become guided by something deeper than thought. You stop forcing choices. You stop chasing options. you stop resisting instinct. You move with the moment as if the moment is moving through you. To Musashi, this was the essence of mastery. Not deliberation, not strategy, not intellect, but alignment. He called it acting from the void, a state where thought vanishes and action arises effortlessly. It is the opposite of hesitation. It is the opposite of panic. It is the opposite of overthinking. In this state, the world becomes clear. The path becomes visible. The mind becomes silent. Every sword stroke he delivered in this state felt weightless. Every movement happened at the exact time it needed to happen. Every decision was free from distortion. This was MUSHIN, no mind, taken to its highest form. And this, he believed, was the true meaning of self-control. The fourth part, surrendering to reality. The final strategy is the most uncomfortable because it asks something we instinctively resist. Accepting life exactly as it is. Not how you wish it was. Not how you fear it might be. Not how your ego insists it must be. But how it is, right now. Musashi spent his final years alone not because he feared society, but because he wanted to sharpen this acceptance. Life is constantly changing. People betray, weather shifts, opportunity arrives. Death comes when it chooses. Fighting reality creates suffering. Accepting reality creates direction. To surrender to reality is not to give up. It is to see clearly. And clarity gives you power. This is why Musashi could control himself in every situation. He didn't resist what life presented. He met each moment fully and responded with precision. His final strategy was simple. When you stop resisting reality, you stop resisting yourself. From this state, confidence rises naturally. Focus becomes unshakable. Fear loses its grip. Self-control becomes instinct. This is where Musashi wanted every warrior and every person to arrive. The warrior who walks alone. Imagine Musashi in his last years, sitting in the cave at Ryugando, a lantern flickering beside him, his writing tools laid out, his body aging, but his mind sharp as a blade. He writes slowly, not for fame or legacy, but to leave behind the truth he discovered. The greatest strategy is not to overpower others, but to stop being controlled by yourself. This is the heart of Musashi's teaching. Not domination, not aggression, not perfection, but presence. His lost strategy, his final strategy, is the ability to let go of everything that disturbs clarity and move through the world as a person who is no longer chained to outcomes, ego, or fear. A person who acts with precision. A person who responds without hesitation. A person who cannot be thrown off course. A person with absolute self-control. As the dust settles and the last echoes of Musashi's lessons fade, remember something important. Self-control isn't a trick. It isn't a quick fix. It's a way of living. Musashi didn't master himself in a week or a year. He shaped his mind the same way he shaped his blade, through deliberate practice, ruthless honesty, and a commitment to growth no matter how uncomfortable it felt. If you followed this journey from the first chapter to the last, you already know the truth. Fear, doubt, hesitation, distraction, these things don't disappear. You outgrow them. You rise above them. You learn to act even when your mind tries to pull you back. That is Musashi's lost strategy. That is real self-control. So take what you learned today and bring it into your real life. Start small. Train daily. Build discipline step by step until the person you're becoming is stronger than the person you were yesterday. And if this video helped you, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts below. Your support helps bring more powerful lessons from history's greatest minds. Thank you for watching. Walk with clarity. Act with purpose. Live with the discipline Musashi carried into every moment of his life. I'll see you in the next video.